Reddit, what is your worst experience of waking up after a one-night stand? I was studying abroad for a semester in Brazil and the university had one night a week where their students would take the exchange students out. Usually it would be a club or bar, and sometimes just drinking on the beach. This night we were at a club, and for some reason I indulged myself a lot more than usual. My first blackout. I woke up the next morning in a strange room, strange bed, with a cute Brazilian girl beside me. She wakes up, and I quickly realize she didn't speak any English. This was only a couple weeks in, so my Portuguese was nil to none, to be honest. My wallet was missing. My shirt was ripped. She wanted to go another round that morning, which I did, so I could at least remember it this time. Then I realized I was in an area of this city that isn't exactly the safest. Had to break out her computer and use Google Translate to tell her to call me a cab and then have her loan me money to get back to my dorm. Oh, and replacing credit and debit cards overseas is a breeze, let me tell you. Moral of the story, doesn't matter, had sex. Not me but my flatmate. He struck gold whilst suitably plastered. He woke up the next day, pleased with himself as he realized he was not alone. Still suitably enamored, he offered to cook her breakfast, tackling the short walk to the shop for bacon and eggs by himself. Alas, all was not well, and after 2 hours of knocking on doors he realized he had totally forgotten where she lived. He returned home to me and our stinking flat where he prepared breakfast for us both with a heavy heart and the bluest of balls. Update, I just remembered another twist to this story. He phoned me while he was walking to the shop and told me that he couldn't remember whether her name was, say, either Emma or Anna, then phoned me again in a panic sometime later whilst looking for her house asking what two names he told me she might be called, having forgotten both of those as well. We slept in her bed, which was a cot in the kitchen. Clue-1 to stop drinking so heavily. She woke me up to introduce me to her 3 children. Clue-2. They were sleeping in the same bed because the youngest had shat the other bed during the night. Clue-3. The same bed she told me to hide in when there was a knock on the door at 8 AM. Turned out to be her sister, but still. Clue-4. She then introduced me to her pet lovebirds. She informed me she would be naming one of them after me. Clue-5. As I'm desperately trying to get the fuck out of there, she physically removes a stuffed animal from her youngest's arms to give to me to remember her by. Clue-Jesus fucking Christ. I did not take the toy from the now crying toddler. If I hadn't needed a drink so badly after that debacle, I might have given sobriety a shot. Edit. Thanks for the golden appreciation. I actually left a couple things out of the story because I thought it made it sound too unbelievable. Might as well throw them in. At one point, the eldest child gave me a picture he drew. It was sincerely heartwarming and made me feel real conflicted. Second, we shared a ride back to her place with one of her friends. During the cab ride, I discovered that her friend's son and I went to the same university. Third, this happened on Christmas Eve. Somehow, in my drunken stupor the night before, I had given her my real cell phone number. After I left, she called me 8 times that day, before noon. I didn't answer. Each message got progressively more aggressive. That's pretty much the complete story. Thanks for reading. I wake up to him saying shit. My dad wasn't supposed to come home so early. I had just thought he lived with roommates. He tells me to jump in his closet. I'm fully nude and my clothes are in the living room. I start to argue, but he insists, and so I get in there and hear them having small talk for almost an hour. I realize I really have to pee, and they just drag on, and I'm dancing around. And then the guy I slept with left for work, and I can hear the dad making breakfast and just settling in. I panic. How am I gonna get my clothes? Fuck my clothes. I lose his clothes. So I take the stuff in the closet. All I found were shirts. I fucking ran for my life full speed through the house with sex hair and a long shirt to my car. The dad yelled, "What the damn hell, who are you?" I had never had a one night stand before. I met some guy at a party and was feeling adventurous. Went back to his room and talked until 4 AM. One of the topics was sexual fantasies. We shared ours. His, no surprise, being 2 girls at once, mine being some light bondage. We had sex. He wanted to tie me up, but I felt uncomfortable since I didn't know him. In the morning, I walked back to my dorm and slept off the rest of the morning. Later in the day, that guy's dorm was having a BBQ, so I walked back over there with a friend. When I walked in, every single guy there put up his arms crossed at the wrist in a bondage position and started laughing at me. I was completely mortified. Walked home with my friend so freaking confused why this guy would immediately tell everyone our pillow talk. And the thing was, he was a pretty bad lay. After a night of binge drinking tequila and being thrown out of no fewer than 3 bars, my new acquaintance decided to get us a ride back to her place by walking out in traffic and getting in the first car that slams on its brakes. I remember a brief moment of clarity and doubt as she was beckoning me from the back seat, but the tequila squashed that. Next thing I know, I'm in one of the strangest apartments I have ever seen. Every inch of wall space is covered in random animal furs and strange objects. I spent a good 15 minutes wandering around the apartment, wondering WTF had happened. I checked the bed 3 times to see if I recognized her, but she was just as much a mystery. She was really hot though, thank God. Eventually it started coming back to me about the same time she woke up. She asked if we had sex. I wasn't sure, but judging from the lengthy scratches on my back I said I think we did. She was upset that she didn't remember and wanted a redo. First time a chick demanded a facial from me. Her dad woke me up, told me his daughter had left the house, and asked me to hurry up and leave. I wasn't quite sure what was going on, but I followed his requests and left. I sent the girl a text and told her that I found it strange and kind of rude that she had just left me sleeping in her bed while she went out and met some friends on a Saturday morning. Then I went on and met my friends and we went swimming as I told them about this strange situation. When I got out of the pool I had a missed call from her and a text where she told me that I had peed all over her room during the night, standing in the bed peeing on the walls and the floor, and she couldn't contact me at all. She told me she had tried to wake me up countless of times during the morning and eventually left because she was all done with me. She was really hot and I'm in too much shame to speak to her again. You know when you wake up, look over, and instantly regret the person laying next to you? I tried that, except I was the whale and she had the regret. It clear instantly. We had both been really drunk, didn't know her name, and didn't remember how I got to her place. She didn't even talk to me, just pretended to be asleep while turning more and more of her back to me. Being a guy, small clues like that wasn't obvious to me, but a stern no when asked if she wanted to meet up someday got me on my way. At first I felt bad. I was hungover in a part of town that I didn't recognize and a girl just kicked me out. But it was a beautiful sunny day, and as I found my way home I slowly started to feel better. Hungover as I decided that this was a great time to a haircut. After getting my hair fixed I felt great. My then GF at the time came round my house and told me she was sleeping with someone else. Devastated at this news I decided to pin her off and go out and chase tail. I somehow managed to drunkenly get with a girl and we head back to her place. I was about to say goodnight and leave it there as I was feeling pretty fragile and only lived 10 minutes walk away. She asked me, "Where do you think you're going?" and took my hand and led me to her room. We go at it, and shortly after the deed is finalized she tells me she was a virgin. I felt pretty bad, but shrugged it off. When I woke in the morning and realized what I had done in my heartbroken drunken state I felt awful. I didn't really want to see this girl again, but felt duty bound as I was her first. I saw her a couple of times after that, but it was just awkward as I was all over the place. My worst and only one night stand. It was about 7 or 8 years ago. I was 22 or 23. This chick I'd kinda known since she was 15 or 16, was now 18 or 19. And she wanted to hang out. She told me she was at her friend's house just down the road from me and invited me to come chill. I stopped, picked up a 40 and headed over. They were already pretty stoned when I got there, so I slammed my 40 in order to catch up. Few hours pass. Her friend and her friend's boyfriend get pretty tired and call it a night. This leaves the two of us alone in this house I'd never been in before. She was stoned. I was drunk. And I think we fucked on every possible surface in her friend's apartment. Living room floor, kitchen table, the couch, outside on the second story balcony at like 2 or 3 am. We are fucking all over this apartment, like we are performing some sort of city-funded structural integrity test. Eventually the festivities wind down, and we call it a night. Completely naked and using nothing but a sheet to cover up, we pass out on the living room floor. We wake up to her friend's parents dropping in unannounced for a Sunday morning visit. I'm laying on my back, fully awkward, pitching a nice circus tent for all to see. This totally smoking hot 18 over 19-year-old blonde passed out naked next to me, and I'm thinking, what the fuck is my life right now? These parents I don't know just saw my boner. So begins the task of collecting my clothing from all around the living room and getting dressed, somehow while staying under the sheet. We slowly woke up, got our shit together, and left. I couldn't tell you in a million years what her friend's parents looked like, but hopefully they'll never forget the sight of me pitching a tent on their daughter's floor.